Today's episode is actually inspired by a conversation that has come up a lot with some of my private one-on-one clients and group coaching clients. And it's really about how to show up in business and call in our dream clients without being like salesy or spammy or feeling like the used car salesman, right? Which is all what we want to avoid. And this is something that comes up a lot. As many of you know, I'm a business strategist and mindset coach, and I primarily support coaches and consultants with helping them really establish their unique POV, point of value in the marketplace, and helping them understand their messaging, their offers, packaging, positioning, marketing, and sales strategy. And so this is obviously a question that comes up a lot for people, both that I'm working with as well as my audience, because I think when we're thinking about like marketing and sales, oftentimes we're already a little bit like weird about it, right? Like we're just being honest. We all are a little bit weird about selling and like what it means to sell and feel uncomfortable doing it sometimes, especially for those of us like myself who are introverts. And really, it took one for me getting clear that selling is really just offering an opportunity, right? I'm not trying to trick anyone. I'm not trying to convince people that they need something that they actually don't need. My job is to show up, give value, help people understand if and how I might be able to help them, and empower them to make the right decision for them, whether that's to work with me or to work with someone else. And that's okay. I very often tell people like, hey, I'm probably not the right coach for you, but here's some other resources. Or, hey, you're probably not ready for this program right now, so I would recommend starting with this. I'm not just trying to like sell just for the sake of selling, right? I really believe that sales, when you're in a purpose-driven business, should be of service. And so I'm really wanting to be able to show up, provide value, and help someone make an empowered decision, like I said, that's right for them. But I think one of the things that's really important, and this has just been like a common theme, I've heard a few people that I follow online talk about this recently, and I'm really glad that this is becoming a conversation around this idea of being an expert. And I actually used to like feel really uncomfortable when I would hear like, hey, Natanya, the expert is coming on. I just did a talk the other day and they were like, oh, we're going to have 3 experts on. And I totally understand, like, obviously it's like an honor to be thought of as an expert. But honestly, I don't think any of us are experts. If you're listening to my podcast, you're probably not an expert, and neither am I. And I think what has happened is we all are like pretending or trying to pretend or feel like we have to pretend to be this expert. And to me, an expert is someone that doesn't have anything else to learn in that area. They like know it all. And like, I know I'm not an expert. I don't know. I mean, if you're an expert, like cool for you, but I have so much more to learn. Now, what I am is someone who likely has some experiences, some knowledge, some information that can likely help you in an area, or maybe you don't have that experience or knowledge or information in the same way that many of you can probably help me out in many things. But like, we're all human beings, right? And so like, what if we just stop pretending to know it all and just shared our authentic human experience and stop pretending to be like this perfect expert? Because I think that's what also comes up when we're thinking about like content creation or what to say or how to say it or how to attract our dream client. It's like we have to all pretend to have it together. And one of the things that I've been empowering my clients to do and that I often do is like share all parts of your stories. Like, yes, I know a lot about marketing and business, but there's so much more that I'm learning. I make mistakes all the time. I have failures all the time, like what would be considered to other people as failures. But I can both have great knowledge and expertise in something and also still be learning, right? And I can have great knowledge and expertise in something. And when I say expertise, I'm not coming from a place of I'm an expert, but where there are certain areas of this information that, yes, I have great knowledge in, but that doesn't make me like better than you. I'm still a human living a human experience. And I think if we were just more transparent about what we're learning and what we know and authentically what we know, like what we truly know, both from our own experiences, from the experiences of people that we've helped. And so if we can just embody that, right, what we actually know to be true, instead of trying to pretend or try to trick and just like sharing our authentic experiences. I have clients that are afraid when they come to me, they will often share like, well, I don't feel like I can share my whole story because if I do, then I'll look like a fraud. And I'm like, I think you're actually more likely to be seen as a fraud if you don't give the behind the scenes, the transparency of like, hey, everything's not perfect. And like, yes, I've studied this, I've learned a lot about this. And like, maybe you have certain expertise, if you want to use that word, in certain areas, but that doesn't make me like this holy grail guru that never has a problem, never has a question, doesn't have anything else to learn. And so one of the things that I've been encouraging my clients to do, and that I've been talking a lot about if you follow me on Instagram, is like, be your normal self. When you're thinking about like, how can I get clients? How can I attract clients? Like, share your authentic story, even and especially if it's not perfect. That actually is going to attract your ideal client. We don't want the person that's like so far gone from where we are that we can't even relate to them. I would prefer the person that, yes, is several steps ahead of me and can show me the path because they've already been there, but is also learning and growing in their own ways. Like, that is more interesting to me. And it's also sharing the behind the scenes of like what's working, what's not working in whatever niche or industry that they're in. And so I think it really is like coming into interactions as a human, right? And so not going, like, I'm going to give an example. Someone was asking about like going into Facebook groups and like not wanting to seem spammy. And I was like, well, how would you engage if you were just a genuine member of that Facebook group? Like literally, like you just genuinely were there to like share, learn, and connect. And like, what if you went from that angle? That is actually going to naturally bring the right people to you. And what if, for example, with your content creation, instead of thinking about like, how can I make this sound perfectly so that the person feels like I'm this expert that they need, what can I share that I know authentically to be true? I know it to be true because it's a lived experience, whether that's personally, professionally. I've helped someone else with this, if that's what you're helping people with, right? And stand in that truth. Because then you don't have to feel this awkwardness of like, oh, are they going to find out that like, actually, I don't know what I'm doing? Like, we all in some ways don't know what we're doing. And like, that's okay. My job is to show up, add value, share what I know. And I know a lot about marketing, about business, but that's through my true and trial experiences, not something that I've just made up because I Googled it, right? Like I have actual experience in it. But that also does not mean that I'm not still learning. I'm in my own coaching programs to learn and expand and grow from people who are several steps ahead of me. And I think that's really important to be able to share and just know that like, hey, like, what if we all treated each other like how we would want to be treated? So what I mean by that is, how do you like to be sold to, right? If you want a selling experience, when you think about like the experience of when you're going to buy something, when do you find it enjoyable? We all like to buy things, right? We all like to invest in ourselves. We all like to grow personally, professionally. But when you think of like your best experience of buying something, what did that look like, right? It probably wasn't like this high pressure thing like buy now or your life is doomed. Which I think is something that more and more is prevalent on in our space, especially if you are in the coaching industry, where we're hearing a lot of like, oh, you have to do live launching, or you have to have a podcast, or you have to be evergreen, or you have to have this kind of funnel, or you have to do webinars, or you have to have one-on-one, or you have to have a course, or your business is going to fail and like you're a failure. And like, no. So even myself, right? So one of my core programs, Clarity to Scale, helps coaches who want to expand from just relying on one-on-one to create a scalable group coaching program. Now, if you are happy with just doing one-on-one, like the program's not for you. I'm not going to try to convince you like, oh, well, no, like you shouldn't just do one-on-one because then your business is going to fail and like you'll never amount to anything. But if you are like, hey, I'm looking at some different options of like how I want to grow this business. I'm interested. I've heard about group coaching. I want to learn more about it. Yeah, of course. I'm going to give you information. I'm going to help you understand how it can help you. If that's a path that you want to go to, I'm going to help you understand what your business model could look like, what benefits that might have for you, if those benefits are even benefits you want, right? I'm not going to try to shame you because you say, no, I don't want a group coaching program. I'd rather have a self-study course. There are pros and cons to everything. And so my job is not to try to tell you like one strategy is the only way. In the same way, I was talking about live launching versus evergreen. And this is something also that I work with people in my program in Clarity to Scale, which I really don't believe in choosing either or. I believe in a hybrid approach, but I'm also not going to say like, if you're like Hey, no, I really just love what I'm doing with live launching and I don't want to do anything different. Great. If it's working for you, keep going. My job is not to say like one strategy works because I don't believe that. And I know that that's not true. And you know that's not true. We all see people who are exceeding in every strategy we can imagine. People are growing platforms on LinkedIn. People have podcasts that are bringing them clients. People have email lists and that's all they rely on. People are using Instagram. People are using YouTube. So it's not like, oh, if you're not on YouTube, you can't be successful. We have examples of every type of business model, every type of strategy that both works and doesn't work, right? It's not necessarily like, oh, you have to do this one thing and that's the only thing that works. We have examples that everything can work. It's you that's the special sauce. And so if you're choosing to follow a certain strategy or path because someone has like shamed you to believe that if you don't do that, it's not, you're never going to amount to anything, it won't work. Like, I just implore you to really get clear on what your goals are. And then from there, backtrack. Okay, what, based on all the options available to me, what strategy is most aligned with my goals, right? So the reason that I love to share about group coaching programs for my coaching clients is not to try to tell them like this is the only path. I have absolutely have clients that only do one-on-one and they have multiple six-figure businesses. They're happy, they're healthy, they're thriving, their clients are thriving. Great. That's what they want to do. But for the person that's like, hey, I want to have like a bigger community, but I also like don't want to just have a course because that's like self-study. I don't have a connection with anyone. So this is like a hybrid option, right? So I'm always happy to talk about that. But in the same way that if someone said to me, like, you know what, I just really, really do not do well on video, right? And so obviously in business, we've got to do some things out of our comfort zone, but I'm not going to tell them that they can't grow a business unless they do video. It's just not true. We have examples of people who have successful businesses, their definition of success, not yours, theirs. That's the most important part, is to get clear on what your definition of success is, and are thriving without video, right? Or without whatever the thing is. And I think it's just important, one, to really look at like, with all the noise online, with all the trying to be perfect, trying to be an expert, everyone trying to like out know each other and like compete against who has the right solution for whatever niche it is, whether we're talking about health, relationships, wealth, business, doesn't matter. I think there's a lot of noise of like, no, do this, do that, do this. And then we wonder like how to show up because we're like afraid to say the wrong thing, afraid to look silly, afraid to not look perfect. Where I actually believe that like my dream client doesn't actually want me to be perfect. They want to know that, yes, I've got experience in things, I have knowledge in things that I can help them with. I might be a few steps ahead in a certain area, but I'm not so far removed that like I'm disconnected from their current reality. And I think also it's important to share your story as you're going through it, not just the beginning story, but the highs and lows that just come with life, right? Whether we're talking about life or business, there are highs and low moments. And it's important to share those. And, it's totally fine to like share from your scars, right? Not from the fresh wounds. So you might want to take some time to go through the moment when you're having those moments, but to show other people that maybe, again, are just a couple steps behind you, what's to come. And so when we think about like how to show up online, what content could we create, how to engage with people without feeling like icky or spammy or salesy. I think number one, it's like treat people how you want to be treated. Like, let's take it back to kindergarten, folks. Number two, it is really just being a human and sharing from your authentic, true experience. When you can stand in integrity with what you're saying and not try to like pretend to again be this like perfect expert that has nothing else to learn, because that sounds boring. And then number three is to really just start with connection first, right? So when we're thinking about like how we're engaging online, how we're talking to people, especially because a lot of it is online these days, but it doesn't have to be, because guess what? I have clients that don't even have an online presence in terms of social media and are killing it because they do things in the real world. That does still exist, guys. But what I will say is that you just want to get really clear on like creating community first, providing value first, but not with like, I provide you value, so like you have to pay me. Like, my job again, and your job is not to convince someone like why they need you. It's to help someone make an empowered decision on if and how you can help them and if that's right for them at this time. And the way that you do that is by showing up, adding value, sharing who you help, how you help them. Yes, share your offers, sell. That is, you're in business, right? Your job is to sell. I believe that selling is of service, but I also believe that selling is literally just providing an opportunity for transformation, right? That's how I choose to look at it. I'm providing you an opportunity for transformation. And so you can decide, is this transformation a transformation I even want based on the actual goals that I have, right? Personally, professionally. And is this the person that I feel aligned with, right? And the only way you're going to know that is if I show up as my true, authentic self. And so for anyone that's like struggling with what to post, how to post it, how to speak to people online, speak to people again, how you want to be spoken to, and just literally share your truth. Even if it, and especially if it's not perfect, people love to see behind the scenes. They love to know that someone's real, transparent. It helps create more trust, right? I trust someone who's going to show me like the real deal over someone that's like, everything's perfect. I've got nothing to learn. Like I'm perfect. And like you all like bow down to me like I'm your guru. Like, no, that's not what this is about. And so I hope that if this is something you've been struggling with, or you've been like hesitating sharing certain parts of your story because maybe, you like, let's just say like I'm a business coach. And so I feel like I can't share that my business had a bad month last night because then no one's going to hire me. Like, no, I can share what I learned from that, right? The people that you're meant to help are going to know and trust in what you do know, right? Because you're sharing authentically from what you do know. And you're also letting people know like, hey, I'm still on this journey in other areas. And so I really believe that we're all here in this time to be of service to one another. That is literally, when we think about like our purpose, that's it. How you choose to do that, whether that, I have family members that are foster parents. I have clients exactly that are like coaches, right? And they are coaching people in all these different personal and professional transformations. Whether that is that you choose to be a parent, right? And that is you being of service to people, or you choose to be a teacher. We all are here to be of service to one another using our unique stories, experiences, talents, and gifts. They're unique to you, and they're unique to you for a reason. It's not meant for you to go and copy and paste what someone else is doing because you see it, quote unquote, working for them. Remember, you're probably only seeing the highlight reel anyway. So we really want to just stand in our truth. That is where the magic happens. And that is when we talk about purpose and standing in our purpose and creating a business that is purpose driven, that is when you start to call in the right people, the right opportunities, the right clients who know and are excited to support you, to work with you, to learn from you, because you are standing in your authentic truth of how you are here to serve other people. I hope that this episode has been helpful. If it has been, shoot me a note on Instagram. As you all know, I have the upcoming retreat in Tuscany in August. We have a few more spots left. If you are thinking about coming, I would love nothing more than to meet you in Tuscany, be part of your transformation to really making 2022 your year. This is really an experience for someone who, yes, of course, loves travel, loves luxury, because that's my vibe. And that's what we're going to be doing. But more importantly, is ready to like take an honest look at their lives, where they are personally, where they're professionally, and really just start to take bold action. And like the point of this retreat is to one, like really be able to sit with yourself and hear your own voice again, but also to start to step into creating the life that is waiting for you. And again, it's waiting for you and you alone, because we are all unique and we all have our unique path. So if you are thinking about joining us, the link will be in the show notes. It's also in the bio in my Instagram. We have a few more spots left. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram. We also are, as you know, going to be doing our upcoming money mindset course. So I'm also going to put that link in the show notes here to get on the wait list, where we are going to be covering a multi-week program about loving money and really stepping into the ownership of that. And I know that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. So if that's you want to get on that wait list. So both of those will be in the show notes, as well as a link in my bio. And I look forward to hearing from you. If this episode was helpful, please, as always, rate and review. It helps us reach more people. And thank you for taking time out of your day to listen and chat with me.